best in podcasts, the best in town. You want to get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you want to go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth.
And we're No Damn Experts. Happy day.
Happy day.
This is a true, I'm going in blind. I know the name
Just
of
one
our
my
guest.
favorites.
That's it.
That's it. You know her first name.
Yeah,
That's it.
tell me more.
Yes, I'm excited. I've wanted to have you in for a while. I just kept not sending the invite. So thank you for saying yes and coming in. So today we have Rose Malisani, and she is with the Cascade County Extension. Oh, you know that last name?
Cascade County Extension Officer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, your name precedes you, I guess. Your reputation precedes you. Yeah, so she, extension with all things agriculture, horticulture, all of that. Yeah.
In my mind, Rose Malisani is a very old woman.
Oh, no.
With white hair.
Oh, no.
Not a young, vibrant, lovely lady.
Oh.
When I was in high school, I was a senior and a freshman said, your name is an old lady's name. And I said, one day I'm going to be an old lady and it is going to match. So one day I will be old, hopefully.
Only because in my mind, you've been the extension agent here in Cascade County since I came to the community. So I just assumed that you'd been there for years before
for
that
80
too.
years.
So I'm like, I'm so shocked.
That's amazing.
I have always been somebody who could shock people. So I'm so happy to hear this.
Here we go. And I have so many questions now.
Oh, great. Good.
Yes.
Good.
So I've been here for 14 years, and there was a lady named Claire Del Guerra, and she was an extension agent, and she retired when she was in her 80s.
Oh, wow.
And so Claire, my dad grew up in Black Eagle, and Claire was a Black Eagle gal. So we knew each other very closely. And so one day Claire told my cousin, Angie, that she was going to be an agent. Well, Angie didn't ever become an agent. So when I became one, Claire said, bingo, I got one. I got a Malisani.
That's funny. What did you do prior to being an extension agent?
I love agriculture, so I worked for the Montana Stockgrowers Association for 6 years in Helena, and I did their marketing and meetings. So I planned conventions and mid-year meetings, and then did marketing, and they had a cattle directory, so I did graphic design and stuff like that. So yeah, I loved it. It was great out of college.
So before we dig too far in, your dad's from Black Eagle. Tell us about your upbringing. What was young little Rose like?
Little Rose was always in a pond somewhere. I was always exploring. I grew up in Cascade, Montana. So Great Falls has got a great family, the Malisanis, and they do a lot of tile and terrazzo. So a lot of people will know my family from that. And then they always ask me, well, which one are you? And I explain that I'm the country mouse. My dad grew up in Black Eagle, met my mom, and then they got married and moved out to the ranch in Cascade. And so I'm the country mouse, and my cousins are the city mice, and they do know this. So
That's funny.
So this isn't news to them.
How are you related to the Malisanis involved with Ski Patrol?
The Ski Patrol, Art and their families, he's my first cousin. Actually, it's Tony. Tony is my first cousin, and he's part of the Tile and Terrazzo.
Okay.
I have a cousin, Art, and he retired from there, and now he's doing other things.
Okay.
So a lot of Malisanis are still around, but they're part of the Ski Patrol up at Showdown. So.
Yeah. I've had a little experience with them for the Banff Film Festival. I've emceed that in the past, and I get to go hang out with Ski Patrol for a little bit before that because the Banff Film Festival benefits Great Falls Ski Patrol. And I was also there one of the New Year's Eve where they do the, which was just, I will say this over and over. It's one of the best ways you can spend New Year's Eve is at Showdown with the light tour they do.
Even if you don't get to ski down.
Even
with
if you
a
don't get
flare.
to ski down. Yeah. I mean, that's added bonus. But the Malisanis provided the fireworks for the night that I was there. So
Nice.
well done. Yeah.
So you're a Badger graduate of Cascade High.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 1999. So right before the millennium. But yeah, so I graduated. I went to school there my whole life from kindergarten all the way to senior in high school.
And for our listeners, it's always fun. That's a shock factor. How many kids were in Cascade K through 12 when you were in school?
We had our graduating class. We just had this conversation. There was 45 of us.
Oh, big class.
And it was a big class. They had to split us up a couple times.
Wow.
Because the classrooms weren't that big. So yeah, we graduated a big class. My second cousin just graduated on Sunday, and I think he had around 2021 or something like that.
Decent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge compared to yours. Yeah.
My hometown, I was back for my niece's 8th grade graduation, and they graduated 3 seniors, which was pretty big because they've had 1 or 2 in the past. So
Nice.
yeah, they're going to have 2 next year. I'll be at that one as well. Love high school
related to a lot of
graduations.
them.
And you're related to them too. Yeah. My college roommate, she was from Eastern Montana, and she graduated. There was 5 of them, and she was related to 3 of them. One was an
Sounds about
outsider.
right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Montana State University. I got my animal science degree. And then I got a master's from MSU Northern out of Havre. So I got my teaching. So, yep.
Nice. Good deal.
So what is the day in the life of an extension agent?
Yeah,
Because
what
I
is
think
an
this is a
agent?
unique position in the world, and we are so grateful that MSU has this kind of a program to start with. So tell us about that.
And it is awesome because you get to help people and you get to go out, and I have seen so much part of the county and Great Falls, Montana. If you guys are complete nerds like I am and you love Montana PBS, there's a show called Montana Egg Live. And so we had a person here who had a lawn problem. It looked like a fungus that was coming out of their lawn. So we dug it up and sent it to the lab in Bozeman, and it was a tree root with gall, which is like a bacterium or an insect. And so we got to help that person with their problem. They thought it was going to be thousands of dollars. It ended up to be like, it's super easy to fix. It's just put some soil on top and then plant some grass. So I help a lot of people with their gardens. That's primarily what I do. And then I get to help farmers and ranchers. We have nitrate tests. We do soil tests. We just do a lot of different things. So answer a lot of questions about, just helping people out. So, yep.
So let's say someone has a pine tree in their yard that is not
Hypothetical situation.
not thriving. Like the others next to it. Is this something that people would call MSU Extension and get an agent to come out and say, hey, why does this do this?
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite things to do. So when people call, I go because I don't like to be stuck in an office. I love to be outdoors and I love to help people. So if I don't know what's going on, then we can set it to the lab, and it's the Scudder Diagnostic Lab out of Bozeman. It's totally free to send your sample in. You just got to mail it. So there's the mail-in part of it. And there's 4 doctors down there who they're complete nerds. And
My people.
they are awesome. So they'll do plant diagnostic, turf diagnostic. If there's a plant, an insect that you don't know what it is, and I don't know what it is, we'll send it down there. And then they do mushroom samples and things of that nature. It's cool. It's so awesome. And it's so nice to have it at our fingertips.
Yeah.
And so when, and then every once in a while I'll get a tourist who comes to Great Falls and they want to know what this plant is.
Yes.
And so it's fun because when I was a little girl, my parents would throw me on a horse and we go ride out in the pastures and they go, what is that, Rose? And so we had to identify it. And then through FFA, all of my my whole life was identifying
You've
plants.
literally been doing this since
Yeah.
you could talk.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun to help people with that.
Okay. So
Yes.
this is completely probably not in your wheelhouse, but there's been an ongoing berry debate on the podcast.
a berry debate.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about ranking maybe the top 3 berries that exist
Oh.
in the state of Montana?
In the state of Montana.
I mean, you can go statewide. I have a suspicion of where the berry landings are.
She's trying to not make it a leading question. Yeah.
Maybe what berries are plentiful in the area might be a better way.
You know, in the western part of the state, we have those famous huckleberries, which everybody is so excited about.
They love them.
However, I'm kind of a chokecherry person.
Oh, choke cherry.
They
Me
will
too.
they will kill you if you eat the whole thing, and they're super bitter. But if you add enough sugar and pectin, and if you take, we have another gal in our office. She is Felicia O'Brien. She does the family consumer sciences.
Okay.
She will teach you how to can
Yeah.
and make
I need to learn
jams
how to
and
do that.
jellies and meats and freeze things and stuff like that. So, and those classes are always full for hers. But I love a chokecherry. We
Yeah.
have so many of them. So.
I do like the choke cherry bushes. They're pretty. They're good, thick shrubbery.
They make a good shelter belt too.
Yeah. I was just gonna trying to come up with that word and it wasn't coming.
That's probably one of the biggest programs I do is the shelter belt program. So I partner with the DNRC up in Missoula. It's the Montana Conservation Seedling Nursery. And we sell thousands of trees and shrubs. I think we average about 15,000 a year.
Wow.
And they come into the Great Falls from Missoula. They're delivered every April. So we just had that delivery. And people will put up windbreaks because we have a little bit of wind
I mean,
in Cascade
mild
County.
in comparison to Bismarck.
Yeah. But it's like, and so when you go and you're driving around, like even in Great Falls, there's some new subdivisions going up. They'll put up a windbreak. They'll put up like some lilacs or whatever. And one thing that's really great about those trees and shrubs is that it brings in wildlife. Upland game birds, deer, things like that too. So it's a kind of a dual purpose too. You cut down your heating and cooling costs for your house, but then you also get to help a lot of different birds and stuff.
She's not as excited about that part.
Well, I have a deer issue. And we have a gopher issue here that they're eating the trim around the door now.
I just had I did a presentation for the Great Falls flower growers, and we talked about deer resistant plants. So one thing that that MSU Extension does is we have white papers. They're called Mont Guides, and we have one that's about deer resistant plants. And so how to keep them out. And it sounds like I should come to your home and we should do a little walk around.
Yeah. I need a lot of help.
Yeah.
I really do.
And the gophers have been horrendous in Great Falls. So I feel a lot of questions about those lately. But everything is kind of cool to have around, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I help with that as well.
What do you tell people about gophers?
Is there a Mont guide on how to appropriately assassinate gophers?
Yes. Actually, we work with the Montana Department of Agriculture. They have a vertebrate pest specialist. His name is Stephen Van Tassel. And he's written a couple of articles about and guides about the biology of gophers. And we call them gophers. They're technically Richardson ground squirrels. So like when the French came over,
that feels like a very fancy name.
they called them gophers. And so we just call them gophers.
Difference between gopher and a prairie dog.
Bigger.
Okay.
They're bigger. Prairie dogs are way bigger. They're more colonization. Like they're just, and then they just take over a whole area. So well, ground squirrels, gophers as well. We don't have moles in Montana.
Okay. Yeah.
We have pocket gophers, but we don't have moles. So
Okay. What's the difference between a gopher and a pocket gopher? Just smaller?
Size.
So a pocket gopher, you'll never see them.
Oh.
If you go out into a field and you see like a crescent shaped mound, that's a pocket gopher mound.
Okay.
But they like to be, they don't like sunlight. So they'll plug their holes.
The
The vampires. They get their name for pocket gophers because they have pockets on either side of their mouths
Oh.
that they'll fill with dirt and they'll spit it out when they like go build their stuff, and then they'll go back down, and then they can use it for like seeds and things like that too. So I've only seen like 3 in my life.
Mm-hmm. Was it at nighttime?
No. Yeah. The full moon.
Yeah.
There was a coyote howling.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So not huckleberries. That was not your top berry,
Nope,
which makes
choke.
Rebecca happy.
Yep, choke cherry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the service berries. We have all these different type of berries, but I like a choke cherry. I like a choke cherry syrup. I like a jam. I like it all. So,
what are some of the like questions on any given week that you get asked? I mean, you get asked about gophers and
Trees,
but
bushes, grass.
yeah. The other day I was up in the canyon and we had a walkabout. I had 6 landowners and we walked and we talked about noxious weeds. We talked about biocontrol. We talked about a bunch of different things. There are a lot of noxious weeds, and when the Europeans brought them over, they didn't bring their biologicals. So we have the Montana Biological Control
what does that
Association.
mean? They didn't bring their biologicals.
They have bugs. They have like weevils and caterpillars that will eat them. And we are awesome because we have the Cascade County Weed and Mosquito Department, and Josh Blystone there, he brings a lot of those in. And then the Montana Biological Control Association, they will sell you those. And so...
so there's a whole
they
market
take
for
care
little bugs
of the noxious weeds. Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's mechanical, cultural, biological, and then you can spray herbicides for those noxious weeds. And if you need a license, you can come to me and I help you get your
give
license.
Okay.
You issue them.
Yeah. I teach pesticide classes, and so there's the commercial sprayers who people spray other people's land, and then if you own your own land, you can spray your own places. One thing that I've done is I partnered with a professor out of Bozeman. His name's Jeffrey Littlefield, and we've released some white top mites in the Cascade area, and you kind of build you grab 10 plants and you make a teepee with some string, and then you put that mite in there, and it'll like go after the flowers. And so then it'll stop. It won't completely stop because biologicals love to eat, right? So you can't kill everything. But they are certainly helpful, like places up in the mountains where it's hard to get to spray herbicide or mow them or whatever. Biologicals are really good. So
it seems like a cleaner option than spraying everything. Yeah.
And my parents, up at our upper place, we have some deep coulees and we had some Dalmatian toadflax. So one time they decided to get biologicals, and this was 30 years ago. And they said, all right, Rose, we rode horses up here. You have slick cowboy boots up. Go hike up to the top of the mountain and release these. And so when I was sitting in a class as an extension agent, they said, oh, no. You release them at the bottom of the hill and they go up. So I immediately went and told my mother.
Remember when you made me climb up that
remember?
mountain?
Child labor law.
Could have done it here. Who climbs in cowboy boots, for God's sakes?
Right.
Rose
does. Rose does, yeah.
Hey, your parents are supposed to be the smart leaders of the family.
Yeah.
You're going to
They're
do what
just
they
laughing
say.
at you the whole
They
time.
were. They probably,
Yeah.
if they had a smartphone, they probably would have taken video. Thank God they didn't have that in the 90s, right? So I mean, there's so many different questions like water. A lot of people with wells will send samples down to the lab down in Billings as Energy Labs, but help them when they get their test results back. What's in your water? What's going on? Stuff like that. So
In the summertime, especially when things are, blooming and budding, the visitors who come in will often ask, and I never have the right answers. And I should have been like, hey, pay attention when you walk in. But they'll come up and be like, what is that, yellow flower or what kind of tree is that in your park? And I don't really ever know. So can you talk a little bit about like the common trees, plants, foliage
Things
that they
that
would see
occur
in Great
here?
Falls? Yeah.
And whether they're indigenous or noxious.
Oh, yes. Okay, so if you are coming to Great Falls, immediately go to the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center.
Okay.
Because they have all of the native plants around there.
Yeah.
The other day, I saw some bitterroot blooming. That's the state flower of Montana. It's low to the ground.
Because it happens all over the state.
Not in one select region like the huckleberry. Yeah.
Yes. There's we have lupin, we have like the trees, there's lots of lilac. lilacs, choke cherries. There's spruce trees. Spruce trees love to be down by the river. They love water.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Same. Me and my friend, the spruce tree, are hanging out by the mighty mow.
Yep.
Shannon just wants to be called Spruce now.
It's fine.
That can be arranged.
I've never been compared to a tree because I'm short and but we'll take it.
Maybe a small tree. Maybe
Yeah.
a small
A baby
shrub.
spruce.
shrub. Yeah. But there's tons of different trees. We have just looking out the window. We have poplars. We have pine trees. I mean, there's a bunch of different ones. If you are from like out of state or whatever, and you're visiting Great Falls, and you want to know, take a picture of it and send it to me.
Oh, okay.
And I will identify it for you. And I'll let you know if it's noxious or if it's native or if it was introduced, stuff like that. So
You should create your own like Rose app. So
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
plant cascade identification. Yeah.
There is a plant ID app too.
Okay.
I think
But
it's called
asking you
Plant ID.
directly.
Creative.
It's very creative.
But why do that when we can just reach out to
Exactly.
Rose? Yeah.
And please do, because it is so much fun to help people with that stuff. Because I mean, the other day I was like, okay, what's coming up? And it's different when people bring it in to me as opposed to like sending a picture. I like it when people send me a picture because it's kind of in its natural place.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went and just close to here, I went and looked at a lady's horse pasture property and we were talking about poisonous plants and what she has in her stuff. And so we just wanted to make sure that she feels safe and everything, and then help her like with seeding recommendations for her horse pasture, small acreage. There's a lot of small acreage in Great Falls, so helping those people out. So
Yeah.
What are some plants or trees or shrubbery that's a little bit more unique just to Great Falls or Montana that other people wouldn't find in other areas?
I'm going to divulge on this one. So there was a couple little north of town, and they were living in the south, and they brought a magnolia tree up, and it lived for 2 years
Oh, wow.
before
It died?
and they babied it. Like they put it in, they put it inside and stuff like that. A lot of cool trees that are around. We have some chestnut trees in Montana.
Oh.
And they're kind of cool. We think about oak trees. There's a native tree. It's called a bur oak, and people put them in their shelter belts and stuff like that. This side of the Continental Divide, we don't get larches. They're the pine trees that turn color like a apple tree or whatever. But we're pretty normal, but every once in a while you have some pretty cool plants that come in to Great Falls. But Great Falls has got the Gibson Park area. The city does a great job with all those flowers and with the trees and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cool like elm trees, and they look like an upside down witch's broom.
Okay.
So if you look something that looks like a witch's broom, and they're huge, they can get really big. I think they're really cool.
I love the trees in front of the post office downtown, and they bloom and smell good like for a week in June, I think it is. And I love it. And I think it's a pink flowered tree.
Oh, yes. I like those too. Are they like a non-fruit bearing but flowering
so.
crab apple maybe?
I think they are those flowering crabs that don't bear fruit
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I mean, they're gorgeous. They smell great, and they're setting like their reproduction, so the bees come when they do that, and so they do smell really good. Apple trees are almost blooming, so they're coming as well. So this is a great time of year to come to Montana
For sure.
and Great Falls.
Do some trees bloom later than their friends? For example, if you planted the same tree, like 4 of the same tree in your shelter belt, and 3 of them start blooming, and then the 4th is kind of a late bloomer, is that something normal, or is there something wrong with the late bloomer?
What's wrong with you?
I mean, because we all know about late
Oh, this is a
bloomers.
good
I'm
question,
just
yeah.
thinking, like, is that an early sign that tree probably needs to be cut down? Or if you're my husband, we have to move because he's not going to live where his trees die.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It gets nip and tuck up there on the hill.
It's kind of It depends. It depends on the weather. Like this winter was very open. So a lot of things like perked up way earlier. Like
Yeah.
we're seeing things develop sooner than later, things that come out normal like in June are coming out in May. There are some majority of the trees, they will start flowering in the springtime because everything wants to reproduce and bear fruit and have offspring. So some of them go sooner and they're doing it right now. There's some that will go a little bit later, but the majority of them are coming right now. So yeah.
Okay.
We have maples and that we planted 2 years ago in our backyard because you've seen our yard. Jason has had Rose come out to check out some grass because we've got kind of weird different patches of grass things happening. So Rose has been to our yard before, and we have fire blight has been an issue for two of our, not the pretty pink color, but I think they're the non anything crab apples. And they get the fire blight, so that's an issue. And so we planted these maples to try to have something of different color and things, and they're doing great. We were told that maybe that was not a great decision, like maples don't do great here. What are your thoughts?
I was probably the one who told you.
This is poor idea. Laird family.
It's so funny because like when you look at trees, especially in yards in Great Falls, it's like they have the best environments. They get water, they get fertilizer. If it's in a place that maybe they don't get fertilizer, they don't get water, they're not going to do well. Maples, like when you go on like an excursion outside of Montana, they do really well. They're huge. Montana, they kind of just stay small.
Okay.
So the Montana DNRC, they kind of have a plant guide, and it's kind of cool because it tells you like what does best in Montana, what doesn't. Like when I go out and help people with their shelter belts, it'll say Eastern and Western. So Eastern is majority Eastern of the Continental Divide, which we are, and then Western is everything else. So helping people out with that. People love willow trees. They go super fast. Pine trees take some time. It just is how they are because they're putting up a lot of defenses and they grow slow. They have a hardwood. So if there's like a disease or a insect, they'll actually defend themselves because trees can't really run away. They don't have that ability. So they put up a huge defense. So a lot of people, the winter of 17, 18 was really cold and a lot of snow.
Yeah.
We had some trees up at our office, which is the Skyline School, and they looked bad. They just looked really bad. And now they're beautiful and they're huge. They're a ponderosa, which is the state tree, and they're doing a great job. Trees like they ebb and flow. And a lot of people will say, well, this tree's throwing sap out. Well, it's pitch. And pitch will it's like, bleh.
Just got to purge itself. Yeah.
There's like an insect coming and they're like, you go out. So
I like that.
Yeah. So they'll throw their pitch out and it looks like sap. So a lot of people will call me about that too.
Okay.
And just trying to help them and things like that. Most trees will survive and make it. Some trees just won't. Like this year is kind of rough because it was hot and then it was cold in the winter. It was like 60 degrees and then it was negative 20. And you're like, my brother from California was like, what is going up there? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The snow boots and the flip flops are right by each
next
other.
to each
Yeah.
other. Yep.
Don't know. Lodgepole pine, which can be found across all of Montana, less in eastern Montana, just because there's not a lot of trees over there. A fine recommendation for a state tree. Do you
We're
work?
just going after all of the state samples.
A little salty today about that, obviously.
Well, how do you feel about the meadowlark? Are you mad
I'm
about
good
that?
with the meadowlark
Yeah.
too. I have some hatred against the huckleberry is all.
Yeah.
It's not. Shouldn't be the state berry. But one of the things that we learned with you didn't get to be a part of that episode, but we had a gentleman come in and have an entire episode on invasive species, noxious weeds, and kind of these elements of cutting firewood where it's at. Don't bring firewood in. So we're coming up on Memorial Day. I have no idea when this is going to air. Do you have a recommendation on the type of wood you should be searching for to burn at a campfire? Like in the little belts, let's go with that. That would be good that you could find in that area that's going to burn hot and keep you warm?
Mm-hmm. Anything, so like a pine tree, lodgepole pine, anything like that that has pitch, because that pitch actually does burn warm.
Really well.
Yes.
Oh.
And you hit the nail on the head. Like if you're over in Wisconsin, you're like, I'm going to go to Montana and I'm going to bring some firewood. Please don't.
No.
Leave that there.
Leave your wood at home.
Yes. We have lots of wood over here.
Yeah, we do.
And it's great wood and it's warm. Your poplars, like those trees that are deciduous with leaves, they don't burn well. They throw a lot of ash. But yeah, like your pine trees, spruce trees, like something like that. Like if you go get a permit and go up to the word's failing me right now, the public forest, the national forest where you can get those, there's lots of different trees up there. And then if you're up in the Monarch area, they had that big snowstorm a couple years ago. And we actually had 4-H camp right after that at Camp Rotary. And there was a tree that landed on one of the things and stuff like that. So they need a lot of cleanup. So get a permit, go help them clean up their forest up there.
Get some of that wood.
Yep. The one thing that we always keep eyes on things. So we have a lot of ash trees around Great Falls. And there's an emerald ash borer that comes from the east. And we don't want that in Montana. Like it just wipes out those ash trees. So since I've been an extension agent for 14 years, we keep our eyes out for those. Like if there's any suspected insects. Another one is Japanese beetles. So,
Don't bring them in.
no, please. No, it just come enjoy Montana, buy some wood that's at the grocery store or whatever, or get your own saw and do it yourself. So,
Yep. I will make a call out to my friend who I can't wait to implement this strategy, but there are some areas, if you're in Montana, this is not necessarily in the Great Falls area, but we know people travel in and around. We were down on the CMR Wildlife Refuge, and their rule, like if you're in the Little Belts, you can cut standing dead trees.
Okay.
On the CMR Wildlife Refuge, you can only cut downed and dead trees. So you can't see a standing dead tree and cut it. And I am sure my friend Jackie will be happy that I communicated that, even though we poke fun at her and say, okay, so we knock the tree down and so it'll be down and then we can cut it out. And she's like, no, you cannot do that. And I'm like,
always trying to work a loophole over there.
wink,
How long
wink
has it been down for? Yeah.
Yeah, there's different rules and regulations that you have to follow. And when you get your permit, whoosh, there they are. So make sure you read all of them.
Yep. And make sure you're being a good steward. That's what we like. People who are good stewards.
Yes, and people are very conscious of their landowners too. Is like if there's noxious weeds and stuff like that, and if they need help, they're more than they come to me quite a bit, and it's fun because then you get to educate them and stuff like that. Like we have leafy spurge, Dalmatian toadflax, white top, on and on. So anything that we can help to make Great Falls beautiful, more all for it.
One of the things that happened recently is there was a lot of trees took down in Gibson Park. Do you know why that happened? And are you a fan of it?
I don't know specifically why, but it's probably a disease issue more than anything. It might also be a longevity of the tree issue. Some trees don't go as long. Like when we look at cottonwoods, they can get up to 60 years, but that's an old tree. And then they get canker, they get a lot of diseases, and then they hollow out, and they're just not safe to be around. So it'd probably be a safety issue with stuff like that too. And diseases as well. The elm trees, they get a disease as well, Dutch elm disease. And so that can spread quite rampant too. And so sometimes they'll take some of those problematic trees out too. So I do know the city forester, he does a phenomenal job. And he's been there forever.
Todd Szymanski,
yes,
right? Yeah.
Yes, Todd. And he does a phenomenal job with stuff like that. So, they're always, if you look at it, you have the state national forest, but then you have the urban forest, which Todd is responsible for. So those trees on the boulevards and things like that, like they're always cleaning it up and doing good things. And then if we get like a big snowstorm right now, there's a lot of branches that fall down. So trimming those, the city of Great Falls and Todd, they do a phenomenal job with those. So urban forests are a huge thing. Like any big major city you go to, there's some urban forestry there, and there's a department there just for the trees.
Great Falls was the first ever tree city.
Yeah,
USA.
I was just gonna bring that up. This concept.
Thank
of
you,
us,
Paris Gibson.
Yeah,
I don't know if he was around long enough for that.
for that to
designation.
know that distinction. Yeah, but we have that Boulevard district and where all the trees are that are taken care of. Do you know were all of those planted, or were some of them?
The boulevards
there, yeah.
I think the majority of them were planted there because, like in the boulevards, it would be weird to have a tree there.
Because they've.
Yep. So I think
well.
I know probably a lot of them were planted there, and the type of tree that was planted there was, you don't plant like a huge tree in the boulevard because then it'll go into the street and on somebody's house. So they're cognizant of tree sizes, things like that, and it's so fun. My favorite thing this time of year is to go to any greenhouse in Great Falls and go look at the trees and look at the flowers, and then you can pick and see what they are. If you are questionable and I'm out of town or on vacation, you can always look at the tag on the tree or the flower, or talk to the people who run the greenhouse and ask them like if it's the best place for you to plant that tree. Because sometimes, like, if you look under power lines, people will grow like a big tree, but then the power company needs to come down and trim them up for you, and that's okay, but you want a nice tree that fits underneath that power line.
I realize that may have sounded like a stupid question, like, oh, were they all planted? Like, obviously, they're nicely placed along there, but I didn't know if some were already.
Let me come to your defense, because when we had Chris and Susan Crocker on from the Goodwood guys, Chris talked about indigenous trees and how they will spread their seed and they will just grow because they're indigenous to this area, where other trees, you can't just do that. Like, they don't just spread like in the forest. Nobody's up there planting trees. But yet there's new trees growing everywhere. Right. It's because they're indigenous, and some aren't, and they need to be planted. So I'm there for your defense.
Thank you. I realized how I asked it. I was like, oh, I didn't mean like, oh, are they all perfectly growing in that like line for blocks? Like, that's not what I meant. So thank you for indulging my question.
And sometimes you'll have like a tree will die, and then it'll throw a sucker up. And then, like, a lot of people love aspen trees, but sometimes they're different.
I do too. I love them, but we're never planting them because the root system.
Yep, they're huge root systems. So there is rhizomatous, which is like,
oh, that's a great word.
Yeah. So if it's like strawberries are stolen, so you can see strawberries like above ground, like they'll have roots and then they'll have a new plant. Rhizomatous is that only underground. So then they start popping up new trees and stuff like that. So
that's why you always see aspens in a clump then.
Yeah, so if you go out and you get to see
grove,
Cascade County, and if you get to go see them, they're in a grove. They're in a big group, and the elk love them, especially the new little ones. They're very nutritious. But if you go see them, they're not in like one tree. They love to everything loves to reproduce. So
everything,
yes, plants, birds,
not me. There's this whole concept. I remember I was on a guided hike with the Glacier Institute in Glacier one year, which was really interesting. And somebody had mentioned the book, and I'm not going to remember the name, but this whole idea that trees communicate with each other through kind of the root system. And there's this whole just like underbelly life of trees happening, which I just think is so cool.
Wonder what
to
they're
think
saying about us when we're
know.
Stop leaning on me, Carl.
Right? Yeah.
Stop hugging me, Stephanie.
So I just think that's like so cool because there's just so much the life that's involved with that.
It would be nice if they would just like, because sometimes you'll see a dead tree and then this has happened maybe once where you've cut the tree down where you think it's dead and then it's not like there's one branch and you're like, oh crap. It'd be nice if a tree could communicate to you like, hey, no, I'm still alive.
If your tree needs help talking, call me.
She's like, Rose is a tree whisperer.
Because sometimes when you're in the forest, you can't see all the
Are you just going down chopping
green.
a bunch of trees?
Well, sometimes you need firewood. And it looks dead, but then when you get it down, you've got like this one small branch of green that was at the top next to the other ones, and you're like, oh crap.
And a lot of those
Sorry.
a lot of those trees in the forest, like they're like in a New York subway, right? They're sitting there, so like the only sun that they get is the top of their head. So the rest of it might be dead looking, but then they're pretty much alive. Like when I go look at trees, the first thing I do is to see if their cambium layer is alive, which is underneath the bark. By the hardwood, that's where the exilium phloem lives. So that's where the trees take up and down nutrients. Nerd alert, sorry.
No, it's great. Yeah.
Like you're just like, oh, it has this and this. I'm
all
like,
these
oh,
names.
I
It's
love
great.
when people are so passionate about what they know. I was getting excited.
Thank you. And trees, like when I first came on board, I know nothing about trees. I was like, what is, okay, it's a branch.
Yeah.
It looks dead. What do I tell this lady who just planted it and she's been babying it? Focus.
Yeah.
So the one thing that Extension does is that we have specialists. So these are people who are at the university. Our forestry specialist is actually at the University of Montana. He works for MSU Extension. But he also is a forestry professor, and so he helps the loggers there, but he also helps us extension agents who don't know anything about trees. And so we learned a big program, like I said before, is that shelter belt program. I didn't know anything like that, and my predecessor did a lot of work with shelter belts. So then in turn I inherited that, and it's great because you get to help so many different people. But a lot of people, like we were talking about, this tree hasn't flowered yet. You know, it could be an issue. It could be something that's going on with the tree. So it's good to have someone take a look at it. But I had a lady call me a couple of weeks ago, and she planted some poplar trees, and 2 of them were like 6 feet tall, and then 1 of them was 8 feet tall. And she's like, what's up with it? We checked the bark. We checked how it was planted, all of that stuff. And I was like, it's just the teenager that grows faster, you know?
Yeah.
So there could be a problem, but mainly sometimes it's just the tree itself. So.
They're all still unique. We are coming up on farmers market season.
Yes.
Our Great Falls Farmers Market, which is like the best in the state. It's huge. We've got a lot of great stuff. The first one's coming up on Saturday, June 6th for the season.
D-Day.
Yes. The growing season here, at least in just my little minuscule residential garden, is very short, right? I don't have a greenhouse, other things like that. When I'm going to the farmer's market and when visitors come and they want the fresh, locally grown, how do we, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here, but some of these things I'm like, that's not, you.
Like if there's a
you
watermelon
didn't grow
for
that.
sale and you're like, I don't
You
think
went to the store and are selling that. So I'm not, how do we find and decipher like what's kind of true fresh produce from this area? And again, I know there's vastly different growing situations between my little backyard garden and like full baked greenhouses, but what are fresh produce seasonally that I can get here?
So we have those monk guides that we're talking about. We have everything from like how to grow strawberries, asparagus, roses, how to do your estate planning, canning. Like it's under montana.edu/extension. We have an online store for that one. Right now, so I have a master gardener class, and right now we do the fundamentals of gardening, and it's called the core class.
Okay.
And then you do the advanced class. I'm getting to your question.
Yeah, no, you're good.
We help people like start their plants, transfer plants. I did a green thumb gardening class, and it was more hands-on. So we talked about cuttings, we talked about starting seed, transplanting. It was 4 classes.
Can I do one of those?
Yeah,
Are
absolutely.
you doing it again? Okay.
Yeah.
no, Shannon.
It's for everyone but me.
Yeah. Okay. So like at the farmers market, which Great Falls has a phenomenal farmers market, there's a lot of great vegetables and stuff that are grown in Great Falls. So people will start them in the greenhouses, like their tomatoes and things like that. I was trying to think back. It was either yesterday or the night before we had frost.
Yeah.
And so people are always asking me,
we were covering our little baby tiny tomato plants.
When do I plant? And it's pretty much like the middle of May is like Memorial Day is a good time to plant because you want that soil to be 40 degrees. If you're putting seeds directly in the ground, and you can grab a soil thermometer, buy one, and then you can see what the ground temperature is, but seeds won't germinate until it's like 40 degrees.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those deals. But there's lots of awesome vegetables. There's a lot of awesome people who garden. They do it organically, they do it naturally, and then they bring their produce to the markets and stuff like that. We have a great Hutterite community, and they bring stuff as well. So corn, like right now you're going to get lettuces, spinaches, stuff like that.
Okay.
Kind of like those colder plants. Radishes, they do start showing up. They need a little bit time to grow right now. We're kind of in the boost session, so probably by June you'll get a lot of like lettuces, maybe some radishes, onions, potatoes. Those are more like in the fall because it takes some time to grow. Tomatoes as well. My favorite thing to do is to go to the 4-H livestock sale, purchase an animal, and then in the fall of the year you have your tomatoes that you raised and your lettuce, and you can have a BLT all from Cascade County.
Perfect.
Raised here.
Yeah.
Agreed. You brought up a good point. I don't think a lot of people would consider planning a trip to Great Falls for the livestock sale. However, I can make the case for this because you would have the opportunity to get locally grown meat, processed at a price point per pound that's likely less than what you would buy at the grocery store, and it's going to be high quality meat. Talk to me about what it's like to bid on an animal at the livestock sale.
I haven't done it in a couple of years, and we have a phenomenal 4-H program in Great Falls. It's led by our agent, Jen Volkmar, and she does a great job with this program. So anything 4-H, I want to say, please contact her. But it is, if you've gone to any auction or any sale, it's so much fun when it's a youth presenting it because it's all of their hard work that they've done over a year. I mean, they've done so much legwork into it, and then they get to sell their animal. It's very electric. It's awesome. And then we have so many awesome things in Great Falls. We're coming up on a cool peak season because we have our farmers market. We have our Montana State Fair. We have the Newberry. I mean, Great Falls is rocking. It's growing. We have awesome new restaurants that came in. I mean, I love Great Falls. It is amazing. And it is like, if you're coming through, stop by.
Yeah.
Put your head on one of these hotels and Airbnb and have some fun and drive around, because there's so many times you want to get to point Y from X or whatever. But it's kind of cool if you can stay in Great Falls because
slow down.
Historically, I mean, Lewis and Clark came up five falls. Was it 5?
Yeah. Good job.
And and I mean,
she's from Cascade. They don't teach that there.
No, we don't learn anything in Cascade.
Well, the falls are more a Great Falls thing,
Yeah.
so you had to learn different things in Cascade.
We actually, when I was in high school, they were building the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center, and so I got to tour it when they first opened.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I love the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center, and I've hosted a couple of teaching things there because they have that awesome auditorium.
They do.
Yeah.
We brought the forestry specialist from Missoula. He came over one time. We did an Arbor Day thing. And then the Cinco de Mayo this year, I brought 2 specialists in, and we talked about native plants. We talked about pollinators, and we talked about watering, like in drought situations. So we bring in a lot of education as well. So if you are curious and you want to learn, let me know. If you want me to bring something in, definitely let me know.
Dixon Melons is a local melon producer in the Big Sandy area. Which has always been odd to me because I don't think there's any melons in Montana. What, if you know, makes Big Sandy area ripe to be able to produce melons?
I'm calling their extension agent, Tyler Lane, after this to ask them, because maybe it's how they're raising them. One thing about melons is when you plant the seed, it takes so long, and their growing season's longer than our growing season. So Montana, we could get a frost in the end of October.
Yeah.
Mainly is about mid-October, but like last year we had a huge long growing season.
Yeah.
So I don't know specifically like how they're doing their growing of their melons, like if they're starting them in a greenhouse and they raise it up as a hoop house. I don't know that question. So that's something that I'm going to have to ask
What's
Tyler
a
about.
hoop house?
So a hoop house is like a greenhouse, and it's made of like, this is totally wrong, but they're big hoops.
Okay,
Yep.
that makes
And then
sense.
they'll
I know what you're
raise
talking about
they'll
now.
raise them
Yeah.
up and down. There's quite a few around
Okay.
Great Falls.
Mhm.
And that's the cool thing too is I partnered with a couple greenhouses to go visit them, and we've done tours of greenhouses. So they talk about the different types, about opening them up, hoop houses, stuff like that. So there's cold frame houses, like you can do stuff in the winter. There's hot boxes. There's a whole world of greenhouses.
Our dream is to have some type of greenhouse. Here's my like real big dream, which involves a lot of money from what I'm told, but what dreams don't? Building off of the side of our house an actual greenhouse so I can so we can grow things year round, but you can also like sit in there in the winter. So if it's sunny, but like, 0 out, I could still sit there and be like feeling the warmth and the sunshine in my little greenhouse, but still be inside.
I love
That's
it.
my dream.
I love it. I'll come have a cup of coffee with you.
Oh,
It'd be
perfect.
It'd be
Love it.
great.
It's a great dream because when I lived in Jackpot, Nevada, there was a place in Twin Falls, Idaho that had a cafe inside their greenhouse.
Oh, that's so smart.
So you could go into the greenhouse and they'd have tables set up and they would make you sandwiches and soups and stuff from the stuff that was inside this beautiful greenhouse.
That needs to happen here.
Oh, it
I
is-
should open that.
Yes,
with all the money
it would
I
be.
have. Yeah.
It is just a brilliant idea because then
Yeah.
you're surrounded by the things that you're going to be eating. And the only challenge for me is because I'm heat challenged.
Sure.
Like in the summer, it's very moist
Yeah.
in there and it's not as fun for me to be a part of it. But when I was younger and it was fine, but I loved that experience.
That's a
So
great concept.
it
Yeah.
it really is.
And especially here where it gets really cold, right? But we still get a lot of sunshine year round. And to be able to have, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. I give out ideas for people to do stuff.
People just need to nab them
Yeah.
and do it.
Good old idea fairy.
What else should people know if they're coming here and visiting? They've not been to Montana or they've not been. There's a lot of things I think that surprise people about Montana and specifically this part of Montana when they come here. Anything else that we haven't talked about that you think people want to know?
Being a gal from Cascade, I got to talk about Charlie Russell, right?
Yeah, please do.
I mean, Charlie Russell, like when we were in 5th grade, we have the essay thing.
Yep.
But like, that's where him and Nancy lived, and they recreated that little shack there. But like
Honeymoon cabin.
the honeymoon cabin. But if you go down to that art museum, I mean, that is phenomenal art. And that stuff in the show in March. I mean, just going through all those rooms.
incredible.
And if I wish I could paint, I wish I could do bronzes, but I can't. But I like to go see them and see what's up, like the major things. But Great Falls has got a lot of cool things. We have the Mighty Moe, getting on the river, going to watch birds. I'm a total bird nut. Like
Really?
I love it. And I mean, that's something that my grandparents, when we'd sit on the back porch and watch birds and identify birds and stuff like that. But there's so many different types of birds in Montana. And there's just so much beauty in Great Falls, and people have awesome gardens, like just driving around and seeing things. Well, my main goal is I would like to do a garden walk. We did that a couple of years ago, and I love to do it again because then you get to see the perennials and the annuals, your irises, your roses, gladiolas, things like that, that people bring in. So
Yeah, that's neat.
So classes are open to anyone except Shannon.
Right. Yeah.
Where
That's what we've learned. Yeah.
Shannon is included.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Where do they learn about the classes that are available?
You can give me a jingle, and then the same number is for the FCS agent, Felicia O'Brien, and then the 4-H agent, Jen Volkmar. It's 406-454-6980. I do a lot of email correspondence, so if I do classes, I'll send an email out. The gardening class that I had on May 5th, we called it an evening in the garden. And so it was
that
up at the
sounds
Great
very
Falls
nice.
College,
Yeah.
MSU. I mean, people loved it. And we just learned about pollinators. We learned about pollinator
Love the
gardens.
bees. Mhm.
We learned about how to help them in the wintertime. And then we learned about trees, how to properly plant them. And then we also learned a couple other things like Montana landscapes. There's a bunch of different, like some people like to have green grass. Some people like to, have more flowers and, different scapes.
So how can they email you?
Are you around?
I'll put it in the show notes too, so people can actually see
Like,
it.
what is her last
Yeah.
name? It's ROSE.MALISANI at montana.edu.
Look at that.
Good
Easy.
job. It'll be in the show notes. Yeah.
Right.
And then what is with all the different resources you had, and I imagine our classes listed online as well. What was that?
Yep.
Again?
It's best to just Google Cascade County Extension Montana, and it'll go right to our website, and that is updated. And then there's the state office in Bozeman, and that website is montana.edu/extension.
Okay.
And we put out a quarterly magazine. It's called Lands and Livescapes. It's really awesome. And we talk about all the nerdy things, and we have...
Is that a physical magazine
but
we can get?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can also get it online too.
Okay.
So if you don't like to...
I love a I like
paper.
an actual magazine.
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
you have
we
to
can
kill a
s-
tree to get it, but I
Well,
still like them.
that's-
Well,
Yeah.
did it fall in the forest, or is
It was
still
probably already
standing?
dead. It was probably already dead. Downed and dead. Ready for making paper.
Yeah.
But we can sign up to receive
Yes,
that too.
absolutely.
Awesome. Okay.
Rose,
Great.
it's been fun to finally meet you.
And she's so delighted that you were
I didn't come here
Not
with a
90.
cane.
I would have never guessed you were Rose Malisani. So thank you for being here. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing your passion with our listeners. And folks, there's a whole new world of things you can plan your trip around now. Classes, 4-H sale, buy yourself some livestock, go on a garden walk. There's a lot going on.
You could invite Rose to accompany you to the farmer's market.
Yeah. Say, don't get that.
Yeah.
Don't get that. Get that one.
Yeah.
Get that one. But know that if it is a Dixon melon, that they are grown locally. And until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy, beautiful faces in our fine city, we do hope you're creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you might be. See you soon.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town.